It's time. Time to get credit for the work you've done. Time to get the recognition you deserve. With Purdue Global, you can move forward in your career, for your family, and for yourself. You're worth the investment in yourself to earn a degree you're proud of, a degree that employers will respect. Purdue's online university is designed to support working adults like you who know it's never too late to accomplish your goals. It's never too late to make a comeback. It's time to start yours today at purdueglobal.edu.
This episode is brought to you by Navy Federal Credit Union. It's a special thing to be a member of Navy Federal because they are a member-owned, not-for-profit credit union that invests in its members with amazing rates and low fees. That's why members could earn and save more every year. Plus, they serve all branches of the armed forces, veterans, and their families. So if you're interested in becoming a member, learn more at NavyFederal.org. At Navy Federal Credit Union, our members are the mission. Insured by NCUA.
Episode 348, Declutter Your Home in 30 Days.
Welcome to the Frugal Friends Podcast, where you'll learn to save money, embrace simplicity, and live a richer life. Here are your hosts, Jen and Jill.
Welcome to the Frugal Friends Podcast. My name is Jen.
My name is Jill.
And we ran a poll in the friend letter to see what kind of financial challenge you guys wanted to do. And this decluttering challenge won hands down. So this is the episode you are getting. And if you're wondering why decluttering on a quasi-financial podcast, because a lot of you will know, will reiterate, having a clean home, having a home that feels complete, having spaces that feel complete and not cluttered has a direct connection to your brain. It results in your brain feeling uncluttered, complete, and it makes it easier to make financial decisions. And just the sheer fact that if you love where you are, you want to leave it less. And which will result in spending less money. So there are a lot of reasons decluttering your home is directly correlated with your finances. And we're excited to talk about how to help you declutter faster and hopefully in 30 days.
We love these challenges just to gamify how to simplify. But first, this episode is brought to you by erasers. Somehow a great children's toy and an item most adults can't live without. They follow us through our whole lifetime, taking away our mistakes and decorating the ends of our pencils. The only thing better than erasers is writing and words that you don't want to delete, like the friend letter. This newsletter is free, comes from the hearts and minds of Jen and I, and informs you weekly of relevant freebies happening currently, that week, that month, savings tips, and money hacks. Erase your thoughts that you don't do better with money, that you can't do better with money, or that there aren't fun emails to receive. There are. It's called the friend letter. frugalfriendspodcast.com/friend letter.
Yes. And you get to be a part of the show as a friend letter subscriber. You get to participate in these polls that we do in every single friend letter that influence the episodes we record, just like this one. So we hope to see you there.
Yeah, this is what you asked for in the friend letter. So here you go, all of you subscribers.
So if you're interested in decluttering, minimalism, the correlation it has with your finances, we have several episodes over the last almost 350. The most recent ones we've done, episode 302, How Decluttering Saves You Money with Ingrid Jansen. She's from Declutter Hub. And then episode 281, which was a rerun, not a rerun, but we had a summit in 2021 and 2022. And this was an interview we did with Christine Platt from the Afro Minimalist called How to Curate a Life with Less Stuff and More Intention. One of my favorite interviews we've ever done. So I would highly, highly recommend checking out episode 281 and also episode 302. Really, really great decluttering and minimalism episodes. But we love the concept of minimalism, but we are not minimalism people. We love completion and the feeling of loving your home more than we love less stuff for the sake of less stuff. But in order to get there, most of us will have to declutter because years and years of overconsumption lead us to houses that just have too much stuff. Just plain old simple too much stuff. And it leads us to this headspace where we don't know what enough is. We don't know where to stop decluttering. We don't know how far to go with accumulating, and we don't know how far to go with decluttering. So this is something that you don't do just once. But if it is your first time doing it or you haven't done it in a long time, then doing something like a 30-day declutter challenge can be very helpful in getting you over a big hump into feeling that feeling of completion and enjoyment of your home. And I think my house is nowhere near where I want it to be. We're living in a renovation, but I go over to Jill's house and her house is goals now. Like, we should show it off more on social media, but your house is aesthetically perfect without being sterile, Jill.
Oh, that's so kind. I have been thinking about that we should update our listeners because you have been listening to me in the past 3 years being in the midst of a renovation. So I know what that feels like, Jen.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that this simplicity and learning what that looks like for us, it is going to look different for everybody, for different seasons, whether you are living on your own or with roommates or kids or spouse, you name it. Then there's just going to be varying degrees. But I think the goal of contentment, simplicity for just our space, more able to relax and recharge in our spaces and not feel overwhelmed. But I think I love this challenge idea because, like you said, Jen, we have to declutter often. So we need to make it approachable and easy to do and quick and efficient. So I'm excited to do that. And yes, someday we can show our listeners the home, the before and afters.
Absolutely. So today's episode is going to focus on tips for getting things done fast, how to declutter fast, not declutter your whole house in a weekend. I really don't think that that's attainable for most people unless this is a practice that you're doing biannually. And then we're also going to be talking about a few mini challenges that you can do throughout the 30 days to break things up and make it fun. So yes, we could find a 30-day challenge where we just read off 30 actions for you to take. But I think it's worth making the task your own because who has time to declutter every single day in a month, right? It's usually you're going to be doing it on the weekends or in the finite times you have during the week. So that's what we are going to be covering in this episode. And the first article that we found when researching Speedy Tips is from Becoming Minimalist, and it's 7 tips to speed up the decluttering process. Becoming Minimalist is a fantastic blog. It's from Joshua Becker, who has written pretty much the quintessential minimalism books. Really love his books, and he's got some great tips. So I will start with the first one. We'll go through all 7, is start easy with a clean sweep. So rather than attempting to declutter your home room by room, try going in waves instead. And I love a room by room approach. That's what I do. But if that's not you, you might find this a quote unquote waves method to be a more impactful, especially at the beginning. So what you do is you grab a box and walk around your home room by room and just fill your box with anything you find that you no longer need. No hard decisions, just getting rid of that first wave. And then once completed, you can try a second wave. But be advised, it gets a little more difficult each wave you go through. But this is a great idea if you're not sure where to start, if you're maybe intimidated by the room-to-room approach. You just grab a box and you start filling things with the easy stuff. And that's an amazing way to start.
So yeah, this is clearly not just talking about putting things away or simply organizing. That could come, but truly decluttering, recognizing that there are things that you have in your home that you no longer need and you just haven't found the time and space to remove them from your home. And that could be because you're going to sell it, you're going to give it away, or it truly is just trash. But I love that idea. It feels so approachable. We're walking with a box and we're going in waves. The second tip to speed up the process on here is to find motivation with built-in deadlines. I've been seeing a lot of this, honestly, in Reels, where people are describing how they're doing a task and setting a timer to do that task. Usually it's something that we don't totally want to do. So being able to give ourselves just a time-limited amount for how long we're going to give ourselves to this so that we know, oh, I actually didn't spend more than 10 minutes on this thing. And so Joshua describes how when he first began the process of minimizing their possessions, he did a lot of the work early in the morning. So his kids usually got out of bed at 7 a.m., so he'd begin at 6 a.m. And so he knew he had 1 hour to get done as much as he can. For some, that's going to be reasonable. For others of us, we're not early birds. So find whatever time you have. And it doesn't even have to be as long as an hour. It can be 10, 15, 20 minutes. It can be for that sweep that Jen just described, or it could be room by room. Really, this is kind of we're throwing tips at you to be able to be efficient and quick with your decluttering, but grab and take whatever is going to work for you and makes the most sense for your lifestyle.
Yeah, I wanted to say this when I was reading the first one, but I didn't want to encroach on the second one. But like setting a timer for 15 minutes and doing that first wave in 15 minutes, it makes the task seem less daunting. And it cuts down on the decision fatigue when you're like doing the 15 minutes and you're like, you really have to just like make decisions and go on. And if you can't make the decision, you move past the item. So it keeps you from lingering. I love this tip because it does work so well to speed up the process. And so it's definitely better for the earlier waves for sure. But even when you get into kind of later waves with more sentimental items, you can just take in longer deadlines to do things. But I love, love, love this tip. I would say like 15-minute deadlines to do that after 15 minutes after the kids go to bed, or 15 minutes like when everybody's doing their homework, or just after you get home from work. It's time that you have that you'd probably spend scrolling on social media, but instead you're doing something really, really productive with it. The third is to donate more. So this is one that I have started taking to heart. When I was first decluttering, I really felt the need to do the buy nothing group, to sell as much as possible. I just wanted to pass things on to as many people as possible. I didn't want to send things to the thrift store if I didn't have to, and I especially didn't want to throw them away. But as my life has become busier, I have found less time to invest to passing things on to other people. So if it's a bigger item, I will try to sell it. If it's a bigger item that I don't think will sell well, I'll put a curb alert on Facebook Marketplace and just be like, this is near the corner of this street and this avenue, and have somebody can pick it up there. But I donate a lot more. And it has made the process of decluttering much quicker. And something I will do continuously, and Jill knows this, I have a box either by the front door or in my room at any given moment when I find something that I'm like, you know what, this has served its purpose. This has served me and I no longer need it. It goes directly into the box. At all times, there is a box of donations just ready. So that way, when the box fills up, I can take it and I don't have to think about things. So definitely highly recommend donating more. It's just easier. It doesn't have to be for everyone, but if it's daunting to you to if it's keeping you from decluttering because you're like, oh, I just have to have the time to list everything and sell it, and I just have to wait until I have that time, stop waiting and just donate.
Agree. I think we get better and better at this too, because since we're always going to be in the process of decluttering throughout our lives, we can get better and better at identifying what's going to be donated, what am I going to take the time to try and sell. I keep different boxes in my garage for that purpose. One's actually, it just goes straight into the car so that whenever I'm passing a thrift store, I can take it there. But then I also keep a box for things that I want to try and sell. So then when I have a Saturday, that actually just happened for me this past weekend, I have this collection of things. I took 3 hours on a Saturday to take measurements, post pictures, and sell those items. And I give it a week. And if they don't sell, then I donate them. But I think you can feel the permission to not do any of that. Again, like you said, Jen, I love that. If it's what's keeping you from decluttering, then there's a cost to that. And you may not want to incur that kind of cost.
Yeah. And I love that built-in deadline that you give yourself a week. And if it's not sold, then it's donated. So yeah, maybe you can give yourself a week, but don't let it just fester there, for months at a time, sitting on Facebook Marketplace.
I think too, this is not in the article, but I'm going to mention it because I'm thinking about it and it's halfly my podcast. I think that this process of going through, whether you're doing a sweep or room by room, it forces us to look at our things from a different perspective versus when we're not in the mode of decluttering or looking at things to question whether or not we want to keep them. Even if it doesn't make it into some sort of bin by the end of those 15 minutes, it's starting to get our brains to think about our things in a different way, that maybe you set eyes on something, but you weren't ready to make a decision, but it's now stewing in the back of your head and you're thinking, oh, actually, now I've got a friend who could utilize that toy because her kids are at that age. And it just kind of gets you into that mode of being willing to let go of different items and know where the best home is going to be for it, as you start to look at your things in that way, even in just time chunks. So there's multiple reasons to do this, and many people can benefit from it. But I'll move on to number 4 now, which is include some help. And so this is talking about specifically the people in your home, that you don't have to do this process of decluttering all on your own. And I know this is quite a point of contention and barrier and pain point for a lot of people of, how do I get my spouse on board? How do I get my kids on board? And this isn't an episode primarily about that, but with this tip, it's saying, invite them into this process. Maybe share what your thoughts and goals are about it, and ask them to participate in some way. He gives an example of tasking his children with finding 3 things in their room that they can give away or donate. And so you're not the only one going room to room. You maybe have, depending on how many people in your home, multiple people now getting rid of 3, 5, 10 things each. And you didn't do all of that. And you got their minds thinking about their things. What do they actually need? What's going to build contentment? That's just a life skill, honestly.
Yeah, I wanted to get Kai into the decluttering process for the first time. We had our biannual declutter, like where I went room to room. We had it last weekend. And I told Kai, we're going to get rid of some of your toys that you don't play with anymore so that we can pass them on to kids who will play with them. And he was like very into it because right now his favorite toys are new toys. And he says, he will say this, like, honestly, he's like, I love new toys. I hate old toys. I love new toys. And I'm like, God help us. And I gave him a big box and I was like, all right, put your old toys that you don't like anymore into this box. And then, we can accumulate new toys. And I come back 30 minutes later and there is 1 car in the box. And he's moved on to playing with other things. 1
Because
car.
For a child, it's forced him to look at all of his things. And looking at all of his things means he's playing with all of his things.
Yes. And so
it may not totally work with a 4-year-old, but I mean, good on you for making effort and training.
Well, this is stuff you know it's not going to go well, but you got to start it so that they get familiar with it. So, I mean, he already sorts his own laundry. He is quite overwhelmed by it, but I've already got him sorting his own laundry, because when he turns 5, he's going to be doing his own laundry. So he's got to start now with the sorting. So yes, get help. The next one I was very hesitant / intrigued by / offended / interested and agreed with. I had so many emotions about this one and I wasn't going to include it. And then I was like, you know what? This is actually, this is real life. And it's why we go through articles and don't just say all of our own thoughts. Number 5 is find freedom in temporary storage. And I am vehemently morally opposed to storage units like long term. Like I love pods are great for moving, or if you're between apartments and you need a storage unit, great. They serve a purpose. But I am I hate how big of a business storage units have become. They are so profitable because people just have so much stuff that it overflows into a storage unit and they just keep it. It's just there. They pay for it every month just to store stuff. And it's insane to me. But here's his explanation. He says, I know a lot of people get hung up on hard to remove items. And these vary from person to person, but it can be sentimental items, books, kitchen cabinets, toys, kitchen gadgets. So to keep from getting slowed down by these things, you can try an intermediate step of packing a box, labeling it with a date, and storing it out of sight. It'll be easier emotionally, and then 6 months later, you can revisit the box. And if you go to the storage unit for anything, then you know that's something you should keep. But if anything you don't touch for 6 months in there, you part with. And I can get it. It's also a finding, like you've got money invested in this, so it behooves you to get rid of the stuff after 6 months. So I can see how this would be a really good step if you're having a very hard time getting rid of stuff, that you do those first waves and then the harder stuff you can put into the storage unit and just test the waters to see if you'll need it.
Oh, he's not actually saying that you need to rent a storage unit. I mean, maybe that would be somebody's experience, but you could also do this even just if you've got storage space, an attic, a garage, the way back of a closet. I think the main point here is that if that's your hang up of, I'm not ready to get rid of this thing right away, throw it in a box and put a date on it. I love that tip. So you can actually know, when was the last time I touched this box, looked at these things.
This is true.
You could even put a date on the calendar. Now I'm going to go back and look at it. It's not as if you can't re-look at the things in the box, but give yourself a lot of space and time and then see how emotionally attached you still feel to those things. It's usually much easier to actually part with them, not keep them in your closet, in a garage, or a storage space you're paying for. Hopefully that doesn't last for long.
Yeah, no, you make a good point. You don't have to pay for it. You can just put it, but you have to be very adamant about revisiting it. You can't just put it in there and forget about it because you're not paying for that storage. You got to be adamant about revisiting it at the date.
You could double it with a savings goal. Every month that you are storing that box, you just pay yourself a storage fee to a savings
Oh, that's so
account.
true. What a fun extra challenge. Every month you're putting money away, and once you get rid of the box, then you get to do whatever you want with that money.
Which hopefully isn't buy a bunch of more stuff, but
this is true.
Okay, number 6. We got to move through this article. We got so many ideas. Tell a friend and invite them over. Now, I got to say, when I first read this tip, I thought that it meant have a friend over, help them declutter. That's not what they're saying. They're saying planning to have a friend over is going to give you the urgency that you need to declutter. This only works if you care what your friend thinks about your space.
You know what it should be? Your mother-in-law. Have your mother-in-law over.
Like, if it's Jen or I, we don't care. You're coming over and you're going to see the whole show. But it has to be a friend that I guess you care about what they see and what they don't see, and using that then as a deadline for when you have to have your house kind of decluttered.
Or start a book club. You can start a book club or some kind of like girls' night. So yeah, it puts a little bit of pressure on you. It shouldn't like stress you out. Don't do it if you're overwhelmed, but it can be another deadline, self-imposed deadlines. So good. So healthy. And the last one is don't confuse intent with action. I love this one. With all things in life, it's important to not confuse a desire to change with actual change. Can I read that again?
Go for it. Please do.
With all things in life, it is important not to confuse a desire to change, which you all have, if you're listening to this, not to confuse a desire to change with actual change.
Oof.
Thinking about decluttering, talking about decluttering does not result
Listening to a podcast about decluttering
does not result in actual decluttering. And this is the same thing as procrastinating. Spending money on something does not result in that thing, that hobby, that activity getting done. Learning about something does not result in that activity or thing getting done. So the benefits that decluttering and minimalism can give you on your overall cognitive function, on your finances long term, those benefits can only be experienced when the excess clutter has been removed and you have given yourself permission to stop buying home decor and stop buying kitchen gadgets and all of this stuff because you have deemed all of your kitchen, your rooms, your living room complete. So remind yourself that taking change, thinking about change is not the same as implementing a change. And you should take one small step at a time. I know when Kai is sorting his laundry and it's a big basket of laundry, he's very intimidated by it. You can see his body language change and just seize up, and he's very intimidated by it. And I'm trying to teach him, we do this one piece of clothing at a time. We sort one piece at a time. And that's the same for you. You start decluttering and getting your home complete one thing at a time, not even one room or one basket, one thing at a time. So just do it. Mm-hmm.
AI might be the most important new computer technology ever. It's storming every industry, and literally billions of dollars are being invested. So buckle up. The problem is that AI needs a lot of speed and processing power. So how do you compete without costs spiraling out of control? It's time to upgrade to the next generation of the cloud, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, or OCI. OCI is a single platform for your infrastructure, database, application development, and AI needs. OCI has 4 to 8 times the bandwidth of other clouds, offers one consistent price instead of variable regional pricing. And of course, nobody does data better than Oracle. So now you can train your AI models at twice the speed and less than half the cost of other clouds. If you want to do more and spend less, like Uber, 8x8, and Databricks Mosaic, take a free test drive of OCI at oracle.com/strategic. That's oracle.com/strategic. oracle.com/strategic.
We know New Year's resolutions often don't stick. In fact, on average, they last around 30 days. So if saving money is on your 2024 resolution list, here's a foolproof way to stick to yours.
Switch your phone provider to Mint Mobile. For a limited time, wireless plans from Mint Mobile are $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan. That's unlimited talk, text, and data for $15 a month.
For those of you paying close to $40 a month for just one phone line, this means a savings of $300 over the course of the year. We especially like Mint because all plans come with unlimited talk and text and high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network.
To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month unlimited wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/frugal. That's mintmobile.com/frugal. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/frugal. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details. Now we're going to talk about this next article, which is 11 of the best decluttering and minimalism challenges worth trying. It comes from Sarah Ever After. We're not going to go through all 11. We're just going to pick a few of our faves. And I'll kick it off. The first one is 10 spaces, 10 minutes, 100 items. And it is what it sounds like. You will decide 10 spaces that you want to be moving through and decluttering. You're going to want to find 10 items in each of those spaces to then equal. So like the challenge is doing math for you, that it will then mean that you have decluttered, gotten rid of 100 items by the time it's all said and done. Now, this particular challenge, you do not need to do all at once. In fact, it and I advise against it. You can you could tackle it all in like a weekend.
I mean, it would take you probably 2 hours, 10 minutes, 10 spaces. That's 100 minutes. That's an hour and 40 minutes.
That's true.
Plus some in-between time. So 2 hours. If you have 2 hours, you can do this all at once.
Or you can space it out and you'd still be accomplishing the challenge. If you take even just 10 minutes every day and over the course of 10 days, you've done 10 spaces in 10 minutes. Now you've got 100 items. And that sounds like a lot of items. And who knows, maybe you'll end up with more. This is just a launching point to be able to gamify what can be an uncomfortable, not very fun process, but by time limiting it, it can help us to make quicker decisions as we move through it.
I like this for a weekend challenge. I think it's, 2 hours, it can be done. I think it sounds like a fun thing if you are starting out, maybe your first weekend. This is definitely one of those first sweep kind of games. The second one is a little more intense, and I have opinions on it. It's the Mins game. And if you are familiar with minimalism, this is the most popular minimalism challenge out there. I think you can probably do #Mins game or #Mins or something. You can find a lot of people doing this. It is an often unfinished challenge because you start the first day of the month by decluttering 1 item. On the second day, you declutter 2, third day 3. So by the end of the month, by the end of a 30-day month, you will declutter 465 items. So on the positive side, the challenge allows you to start small and work your way up. On the negative side, the author says, I could picture it being very challenging to find 30 items at the end of the month after you've already discarded over 400. If you're going to do the Mins game, here's how I would do it. I'd do it backwards. I would go 30 to 1. I mean, honestly, at this point, like the Mins game would be a habit. You're creating a habit of decluttering. So not only are you decluttering, but you're also working on building a habit. And those are 2 different things that you're working on, and they can sometimes fight each other. So very few people actually finish the Mins game. So with that in mind, building the habit is not the important part of decluttering. Getting stuff out is the important part. So that's why I would start with doing 30, 29, 28, like that. So
yeah. It's also kind of odd because it's anticipating that you're going to have more time each consecutive day. It's going to take much more time to find and declutter 30 items than 1 item. So you also have to consider time frames that you have, whether you're going to want to kind of incrementally increase or decrease, or if you'd rather keep a steady pace of every day I'm doing 10 minutes or 5 minutes or 15. Anyhow, yeah, those are our hot takes. I'm going to talk about the third challenge they highlight here, which is the 12-12-12. Ooh, we've got so many numbers.
I know.
So much math happening. So what this means is that you're going to search your home for 12 items to throw away, 12 to donate, and 12 that just need to be put away in their proper places, which I do think is reflective of the reality for many of us. It's not just that I'm going to go through my home and this, and this is going to go away. We're looking at all of our stuff and we're going to get distracted by the things that have to get thrown away. And then we're going to get distracted by the things that have to be put away. So this just kind of captures it all. And it's kind of a game. So 12-12-12, you could obviously decide whatever number. I don't know how they decided 12, but they're saying like in a short amount of time, you've got 36 items that have been kind of decluttered, whether it's through a donation or throwing it away or putting it back. But if you want to do more, you want to do less, I think that that's a really helpful, comprehensive way because we recognize we're going to encounter different things that need to happen with our items.
Yeah. 12 it seems like an arbitrary number, but this does seem like a good, honestly, nightly challenge. Just look for, there on any given minute of the day, there are probably 12 things I need to throw away. Maybe not 12 items to donate, but definitely 12 items to be thrown away and 12 that need to be put away.
Yes.
So
when I go to my sister's house, she's got 4 kids. Every night after I help her when I'm visiting, put the kids to bed, there's plenty of trash. There's just trash that needs to be thrown away. I don't donate her stuff for her, but and this is mine, and this is for the trash, and this is, I'm going to take this. I don't do that.
I mean, yeah. One day you might, though. The next one is one that another one I have opinions on, but I'll let you be the judge of what you think, but I'll tell you my opinions because I'm here. The 5th is called packing party, and it is much less of a party. It's essentially, the challenge is you pretend you're packing up to move and box everything up in your house or as many rooms as possible, and then you only take things out as you need them. And after a certain amount of time, whatever you haven't used that's still in boxes leaves and gets donated. And this gained popularity. It's the method that the minimalists used in order to become the minimalists. It is extreme. It is the most extreme challenge here. I'm pretty sure those dudes didn't have girlfriends or children. They were just lone bachelors when they did this, because God help us if we tried to do that. This is not a method for everyone. But hey, if you live alone and the thought of clutter is overwhelming you and you just need a quick fix, this could be something for you. And this would be a great one to share on social media because it is so extreme. I would love to see somebody, if you know anybody who's done this or have a social media profile I can follow. I don't want to say I'd love to see you do this because I don't really want to see anybody
I don't wish
do
that
this.
upon you. No.
It is a thing that has been done before, and it is a thing you can do, and that's what I will say about it.
And that's why you're talking about it. I don't want to live out of a box. Of the top 3 most stressful experiences a human goes through, as far as regular experiences that many people face, experiencing the death of a loved one, a divorce, and moving are the top 3 most overwhelming, stressful experiences. And so why put yourself through that? You're hearing a little bit more of my unadulterated opinion on that. You throw it all into a box, then you have boxes all over for months, and then you got to dig and find whatever it was that you are looking. Anyone who's moved, this is not a party. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm moving on. We just like to talk about salacious things mostly. You could do that. And it take 30 days.
This is why we go through these articles, to give our honest opinions, and here we are giving our opinions.
It's our podcast.
Okay. If it sounds good to you, you should try it. It's it has been for other people. It has worked for other people, and it could work for you.
Just know, moving is stressful. Number 6, Project 333. We've talked about this before. Mm-hmm. It's a great one. It is essentially for clothing, particularly decluttering our closets. And especially if you want to be aiming at a minimalist or even capsule wardrobe. So this is definitely an extreme version of a capsule wardrobe challenge, but essentially it begins by you choosing 33 items of clothing. Now, bear with me. This includes accessories, jewelry, outerwear, shoes, and of course, your clothes. And you only wear those items for 3 months. I do like that because usually a season is 3 months. So this is probably best to do at the beginning of a season. I think this might be a little bit harder if you do this as you switch into different seasons, but that's really, when it comes down to it, not a ton of things when you're including accessories, jewelry, shoes, and coats into that number. But really worthwhile to try. I think this will help to show, what do you actually wear? What do you like from your closet? What does contentment with your wardrobe and clothing look like? This is certainly going to keep you from purchasing new clothes, at least for those 3 months, much less wearing out all of the rest of your clothing. So then the idea is that once those 3 months are over, you can go back through the items that you've packed away. And if there was something that you missed, you can bring it back in, but it might give more clarity on what clothing items can I actually get rid of that I didn't miss at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we actually did an interview with Courtney Carver, who was the creator of Project 333, way back in the archives, episode 59. You heard that right. Just 59. And I love her reasoning behind like why she started it. So if you're feeling overwhelmed by your closet, keep turning to Frugal Friends, because we're also doing a capsule wardrobe episode very soon. But also you can head back to episode 59 to hear a little bit more about Project 333. All right. I think those were the best mini challenges on the list. We won't waste your time with the rest of them, but I will say that we have a 30-day minimalism challenge that we sell in our shop. We have a whole slew of workbooks. And if you've made it this far in the episode, I would actually like to give you that workbook for free. And it is more of less of a minimalism for minimalism's sake, but looking at decluttering on a deeper level. And so if you are subscribed to the friend letter, you will get this in Friday's email. So you got to be subscribed to the friend letter, and we will have a link to get that for free in Friday's email. So if you're already subscribed, nothing you have to do. You're going to get it. And if you're not subscribed, head to frugalfriendspodcast.com/friend letter and get on the list so that you can get that this Friday.
Do you know what else we're about to give you that comes for free just because you're listening to this episode?
Every Friday, every Tuesday, always free.
The Bill of the Week!
That's right. It's time for the best minute of your entire week. Maybe a baby was born and his name is William. Maybe you paid off your mortgage. Maybe your car died and you're happy to not have to pay that bill anymore. Duck bills, Buffalo Bills, Bill Clinton. This is the Bill of the Week.
Hi, Jen. Hi, Jill. My name's Emily, and I just bought a house. My Bill of the Week is one that I'm choosing not to pay for my house, in that I was pricing trash companies in the area, and they all ranged from $20 to $25 a month, and I was fretting over which trash company to go with, and then beating myself up because I was using so much time and energy worrying about this $5 difference, until I realized that it wasn't a $5 problem. It was a $25 a month problem, because I don't create a lot of trash. So I don't need to be paying $20 to $25 a month for someone to take my trash away. I asked my neighbor, who is paying for trash, if I could just toss a bag into their trash can once or twice a month, and she said yes. So now instead of paying $20 a month for trash, I'm going to maybe toss a couple of bucks at my neighbor to help offset her costs. And that's why my trash bill is my Bill of the Week. Goodbye.
Okay.
I love the way you thought about this, Emily.
Yes.
What a way to look at all the facets of your different bills and get creative and think outside the box. And how amazing to think community too. I think we've lost so much of that in some of the individualistic ways that we look at owning possessions and paying bills. And sometimes there can be shared expenses, shared tools, trades, exchanging of goods and services. And I love this. This is phenomenal. I don't think that a lot of people do need to be paying for the full use of trash. Some do, but this is awesome because I also think it probably encourages you in a relatively more low waste lifestyle. This is just beautiful across the board.
Yeah, it's definitely a great example of getting curious and getting creative and this is why we say in your budget, in your spending plan, there is no such thing as a fixed expense. So yes, some cities do require you to pay for your trash with your water. You can't get around it. But in the areas that do not, that expense is not fixed. It is variable. So, and not just by $5. You got creative, and now you're probably going to pay your neighbor $10 a month to just put a bag of trash in every other week. And it's going to encourage you to waste less so that you don't make more trash. So it's not just going to be a $15 savings. It's going to save you in your purchasing because you're going to purchase less or purchase with less packaging. It's going to permeate into other areas for the simple fact that you got creative. So well done, Emily.
If you all listening have decided that you're not going to pay your bills anymore, or you are paying your bills and it's really fun, or you are a person named Bill and who in the world knows what's going on with your bills, it doesn't matter because your name is Bill. Visit frugalfriendspodcast.com/Bill. Leave us your bill. We're just sitting here waiting for it.
We all agree that reducing carbon emissions is a good thing. And once again, Toyota is leading the way. We hear a lot about fully electric vehicles, and Toyota has them, with more on the way. But we also know a BEV is not for everyone, whether it's because of cost, range, or concern about finding a charging station when you need it. Plus, the raw materials used to manufacture batteries are limited. Enter Beyond Zero, Toyota's vision for a carbon-neutral future, in vehicles and in manufacturing plants too, in the years ahead. The materials used to make just one long-range battery for an EV could be used to make batteries for 6 plug-in hybrids or 90 gas-electric hybrids. That's why Toyota's position today is electrified, diversified, empowering you to choose how to reduce your own carbon footprint with the vehicle that's right for you. A hybrid, plug-in hybrid, or battery EV. So shop, learn more, and get details at toyota.com/Beyond Zero. Toyota, let's go places.
It's never too late. Never too late to earn a degree. Never too late for a comeback. Between your busy career and taking care of a family, it can feel like there's never a good time to go back to school. But your time is now. Time to start your comeback with Purdue Global. As Purdue's online university for working adults, Purdue Global is dedicated to supporting adults like you who know it's time to earn the recognition you deserve. You have the experience, you have the knowledge, it's time to get credit for the work you've done. You can balance work, family, and everything in between while earning your degree. It's time to move forward in your career, for your family and for yourself, with a degree you're proud of, a degree that employers will recognize and respect. You're worth this investment in yourself to earn a degree you deserve. It's never too late. Never too late to go back to school and come back stronger with an education you can trust. Now is the time for your comeback. Start yours today at purdueglobal.edu.
And now it's time for the lightning round.
Lightning round. Our next bill of the week is going to be like, "Hi, Jen and Jill. I just decided to stop paying my bills. Bye." That's it.
If it's a person named Bill who says that, then we're here for it.
Oh, gosh. No. I don't feel the same way. Don't let me in there. All right. For our lightning round today, how do you usually deal with the "what if I need this later" when decluttering? What a great question. So I may not be the best person to ask that because I chuck first and ask later. Yes. I am the person who has thrown away important documents and other tools and gotten rid of needed things. That is a thing I am known for. So maybe I'm not the best person to ask that, but I have some unique traumas when it comes to clutter. And I always say no first, then inspect later.
Yeah.
So that's going to be me.
Mm-hmm. There definitely have been times where I did get rid of something and then a few months later think, oh, that would have been really nice, but not that often. So a few of the filtering questions, if I feel that way about an item, and I'm asking myself that question, I will try to identify, how do I actually foresee myself using this in the future? Like at least a couple of scenarios. What do I imagine I'm going to do with this thing? If I can give myself an adequate answer on that, then we move on to the next question of how much would it cost if I got rid of this and then I suddenly needed it to get it again? Not even new, just used. How difficult to find this item? How much is it going to cost? If it's an absurd amount of money, then that's going to be telling. If it's not a lot of money, if it's going to be super easy to find, then that's also telling. And then I have to answer the question adequately, where am I going to keep it? And have to have an idea that I feel comfortable with of where this thing is going to be stored. Usually those 3 questions help me to then further determine it. I will say this did recently happen. I think Eric and I run into this most with construction items, tools, extra wood, things that, you'd have to buy it new or a whole lot more than you might actually need. And so keeping just a few, and we have used that. So we do keep a section of the garage of here's some spare metal, wood, roofing, whatnot. And I just live with that because we come across times where we are doing our own fixes. Those things are worth keeping. But we had gotten a mattress topper where it came in 2 parts, foam, and then like another topper piece, like a fitted sheet. And after using it, I realized I only wanted the kind of fitted sheet portion and not the foam topper, but it was good foam. And we're like, what do we do with this? Eric was thinking he might want to use it for sound deadening in either his studio or my studio. And we were thinking this would actually be really good to put on top of an air mattress. We've got enough people coming in that we need sometimes more than our guest room. So we did keep it. And I will say we did just use it last weekend. We did put it on top of an air mattress, made that air mattress a lot more comfortable. I do have a plastic bin that it fits in the garage. So we do sometimes do this, but again, it's got to go through that whole list of questions before I'm actually going to keep it.
I would say there's certain levels to the question. So one thing from the minimalists that I do like is their $20 rule. So if you haven't used it in the last 6 months and it can be repurchased for less than $20, it goes. And hopefully you won't repurchase it. You will borrow it from a friend. That is, or get it for even less at the thrift store, So that would be for low cost items. For higher cost items, I think if you have something, so I had this like steam grill or something. It was this very cool griddle/grill indoor thing, smokeless grill. But I already had a griddle and I had a stove. And I had a grill. Those things were, when you need a grill, you need a grill. When you need a grill, you need a griddle. And this could have been used as a griddle, but my griddle was smaller and more compact. And then my stove. So I ended up selling this nice smokeless grill because anything that I could do on it, I could already do with the things I had. And I got it as a gift. But yeah, so looking at things you already own and seeing if you could make do without it. This is where I think the temporary storage thing, it might come into play, is putting all these things you're not sure that you'll use in a storage unit or back of your garage sort of idea and waiting 6 months and seeing if you used it, if you actually needed it, and getting the sunk cost fallacy out of your head. Yes, maybe you bought it. It costs money. The money is gone. And you can try, if it's like like my smokeless grill, that sold really easily on Facebook Marketplace. So you can try and sell something, see what you can get. But after a week, if you don't sell it, donate it, get it out of there, put it on your Buy Nothing group, Curb Alert. And I think that box might be the best idea. The box that I was so almost against when I read that article is I have warmed up to.
We love the box now.
I love the box. So thank you so much for listening. I hope that this episode encouraged you to do some decluttering this weekend, and definitely sign up for the friend letter. Make sure you get that free 30-day minimalism challenge. It's over 30 pages. It's got an actual day-to-day decluttering challenge, journaling prompts, inventory lists so that you can see all the things that maybe you might forget to declutter, all kinds of wonderful things that, it's usually $30. We're going to give it to you for free for just this weekend. So frugalfriendspodcast.com/friend letter. If you're already signed up for the friend letter, you're going to get it, but maybe you haven't left a review for the podcast yet. You can do that instead because we love reading your kind reviews, especially this one from M. Gadunb. It says, "Great podcast. I really enjoy this podcast and all the information it provides. I especially like that these girls are young and offer practical advice after doing their own research. If you're looking for ways to save money or learn more about paying off debt, this podcast is a great start." She called us young, Jill.
They called us young. Oh, wow. This is going to live on for forever. Yes. Thank you, EMG DeHunby. That's beautiful. We love those types of reviews. We love all of you listening. We love all of you that are subscribed to the friend letter. It really helps us find other friends who are going to enjoy this podcast. It helps new listeners find us. So if you've not done it, like Jen said, please leave us a rating and review. Feel free to tell us that you love how young we are. That's great. We love that.
See you next time.
Frugal Friends is produced by Eric Sirianni.
Wow, Jen. Are you going to declutter now?
Oh, I just did my biannual declutter.
That's true.
Yeah.
Biannual. It makes it sound so official.
It is. And normally I will do it in October. I'll do it in the fall and the spring.
Okay.
But I did it in September because we have so much going on every weekend in October.
Yeah.
So I did it the last weekend of September.
Well done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Similarly, we must be on a similar wavelength, even though we didn't really talk about this. We just did the garage. And so we're just getting rid of stuff left and right. It feels so good. I think we waited. We kind of tried to keep things as organized as possible. But now that the renovation is pretty much over, we really have a sense of what are the decor items we want to keep? What do we not need anymore? What are even some of the renovation materials that we don't need anymore? And just really clean out.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels good. Even in the midst of our renovation, Travis got rid of some stuff that was clogging up the walkway, like materials that had to be put up.
Yeah.
And the openness of it has really given me a fresh air in my lungs. It impacts me greatly. So this is why I'm so passionate about this particular topic, because it really does impact me so greatly. I don't know how everybody else feels about it. Travis very much does not care. He's fine living in this renovation. But I have been suffering. So in his kindness, he really made it a point to open some things up. And it has been very refreshing.
That's so good.
Yeah. So yeah, when you feel good, you make better decisions. And a lot of the decisions you make day to day are financial. And I'm seeing that personally. So.
What a good anniversary gift then.
Oh, yes.
Declutter some of
Today is my anniversary. Yes. We are recording this. Today is our 8th wedding anniversary. So
happy anniversary. I made that up. You can't even tell me to stop singing because I'm not
That's
copyright
beautiful.
infringing on anyone.
You're not. I love that. Actually, speaking of songs, when I got in the car this morning to take the kids to school and daycare, our wedding song was the first song that I turned on the car and it was playing. So I took a little video.
Oh.
And this was just, I did a little video just playing it. And I actually still haven't sent it to Travis because I've been so busy. But Kai is singing along in the video. Like, you can't see him, but he's singing along. And you can't hear Atlas, but he was making the largest poop of his life. And while the video was recording, the whole car started to smell like so rank. And when I got him out of the car seat to bring him into Isabel, his whole back was wet. Like,
just from
I had
sweat?
to hold him kind of like
because of all the work he was putting in?
No, urine and poop.
Oh, well, you said poop, so I wasn't like...
No. So that was what was happening while I was recording this beautiful song.
So there was joy and pain combined in the same moment.
It was just very this is 8 years.
Yeah, this is the
8.
reality. Yeah.
Yeah. So
wow.
There you go.
There it is.
There it is. Love it.
With the best all-inclusive vacation deals to Mexico and the Caribbean, booking your getaway with Cheap Caribbean Vacations means you have more freedom to do your deal. Whether you want to enjoy snorkeling, endless margaritas, and more, or simply soak up the sun and sand in a tropical paradise, Cheap Caribbean Vacations has your deal for that. Plan and book the exact getaway you want at exactly the right price for you by using our exclusive Budget Beach Finder, or find a featured all-inclusive package to Paradisus by Malia Hotels, and do your deal at cheapcaribbean.com.
Bring home Napoleon.
Destiny has brought me here.
The action epic from acclaimed director Ridley Scott.
What is your name? Napoleon. You are the greatest leader in the history of the world.
Witness the rise.
You are nothing without me.
Of the legend. Starring Academy Award winner Joaquin Phoenix and Vanessa Kirby.
I'm the first to admit when I make a mistake. I simply never do.
Napoleon. Buy or rent on digital now. Rated R.